All right, everyone. Here we are. You're going to have to bear with me a little bit on this live as I am trying out some new equipment. I've got some new tools to work with here. It should be kind of fun to have these new tools, but I just need to learn how to use them a little bit. And I'm hoping to just wait for some people to get in here. And it shouldn't take too long, but I do want to see my chat screen. I'm pulling that back up here. So if any of you want to leave any comments, I should now be able to see that, which is good. So breaking news, I've been saying Guy Ferrari for, like Guy's Burgers on Carnival Cruises. I've been saying Guy Ferrari for the longest time, and it turns out that it's Guy Fieri. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast with Guy Fieri, and he pronounced it. So for years and years, I've been calling him Guy Ferrari, and just was completely wrong about it. It looks like Guy Ferrari, though, right? And he actually looks like a guy that would be named Guy Ferrari. He loves hot rods. I didn't listen to much of it because it actually wasn't that great of a podcast, but I did find out that his name is Guy Fieri, not Guy Ferrari. So there's that. All right, and if there is anything that, any settings I need to do differently here, I think it would be great if you guys could let me know, because once again, I'm trying out the new equipment here. Excited about it, but don't really know what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm going to jump in to what we're here to talk about, which is the cruise news. So I hope to start doing some cruise news live here. Obviously, that's what I'm doing right now. And I have three stories to share with you today about the cruise news. And let's jump into the first one. So I'm going to click on these fancy buttons here, and we're going to see the screen here. And look at that. We have Carnival. It's going to offer casino-orientated sailings for adults. So they're going to be adult-only cruises. So do you guys like having kids on the ship? Do you not like having kids on the ship? I know everybody's going to say, oh, if you don't want kids, just sail on Virgin Voyages. I get that, but Virgin Voyages is more expensive than Carnival. And so if you want like a kid-free experience and you don't want to pay for Virgin Voyages, and honestly, I like Carnival better than Virgin Voyages myself. Virgin Voyages doesn't really appeal to me that much. So... but I love sailing on Carnival, so I don't really mind when there's kids on the ship. The last cruise I was on, which was just a few days ago, I finished. It was an Alaska cruise, 10 days, and there were some kids on the ship. There was about 100 kids, out of the couple of thousand people on the ship, and it wasn't too bad actually. But I have been on cruises where, for some reason, you get kind of a rowdy batch of kids, and it can actually affect your cruise. So. I don't know what you guys think about kids on cruises. Probably some of you are family people and you bring your kids on cruises. But I don't have any children. And so when I go on a cruise, I don't really want to be inundated with, kids running down the hallways. Like on this last cruise, I'm not really complaining, but I'm just going to point out that there were areas where there were kids wrestling on the ground, screaming, just kind of in the middle of an area that people could sit down on some chairs and relax and enjoy the view. And the parents were nowhere to be found. So things like that do, I guess, grate at me a little bit. Also, on Carnival, you've got Serenity, which is the adult-only area. And in my experience, at least, they do a pretty decent job of policing that. There's usually not kids in that area. But there's always kids in the pools and the hot tubs that aren't in Serenity. So they kind of take over those sections. So anyway, it appeals to me a little bit to take a cruise that is not with kids. And sounds like the reason that Carnival wants to offer these cruises is that they're going to be casino orientated. They're going to have the casino open for longer hours. And they are going to hope that people spend more money in the casino on these cruises. It's good that, if they're really pushing the casino on people, that they don't have kids. on board the ship, because that shouldn't be, in my opinion, something that kids are exposed, or kids should be exposed as little as possible to things like gambling. And but on cruise ships, honestly, kids are going to see gambling, they're going to see drinking, they're going to see things that they can't do until they get older, and hopefully they will do responsibly. So do you guys want to go on Carnival cruises that don't have kids? Well, if you do, looks like the 4 sailings are going to be a 9-day on August 22nd, a 12-day from Miami on August 31st, a 9-day on September 12th, and a 10-day on September 21st. And I bet that if these are really successful, they'll probably do more. I think it's actually a great idea. It's nice for folks that want to sail on Carnival without kids on the ship, and maybe want to spend a bunch of money in the casino to have that opportunity. So anyway, I'm going to move on to our next story. All right, so this one, this one happened a day or two ago, and it's an interesting story, and I've actually already kind of put out a short form video about this, and I've been getting some feedback from some of you guys, some of the viewers, and I'm getting different kinds of feedback. For the most part, though, most people agree with this, so I should probably tell you what it is. Turks and Caicos, the government of Turks and Caicos, blocked what was it, the Regal Princess? I can't remember. Let's find the Enchanted Princess was not allowed to dock in Grand Turk because there were like 50 sick people on the ship, and the sickness was, maybe norovirus. It was influenza type illness, acute gastroenteritis, which is upset stomach, having to go to the bathroom a lot, I think, and also respiratory illness. So that sounds like people with colds. Turks and Caicos got it. Apparently the cruise ships have to give a report to the ports of if there's a lot of sick people on the ship, and they gave the report. The government of Turks and Caicos was like, I don't want 50 sick people coming here and spreading around a bunch of germs. So they were only about a half hour out from docking in Grand Turk, and they were told, go away. You can't dock here. No bueno. You can't come here. No snorkeling for you. No swimming for you. No shopping. I mean, from the standpoint of Turks and Caicos, that was a few thousand people that didn't get to come and spend their money. And I know that Turks and Caicos likes it when people come and spend their money. So I don't know. I kind of get it. And like I say, in the comments that I have been getting on the other story that I put out about this, most people, one person I remember saying specifically, well, don't you remember what happened with COVID? So they're kind of saying if people get off the ship that it's going to spread like wildfire, all these illnesses. I will say this, though, if you put it in perspective, there are, I believe it was the Enchanted Princess had a passenger capacity of 3,600 people, and presumably it was probably at least a somewhat full cruise. So we'll say that there was 3,000 people on there, and 50 of them were sick. So that's not that many. I mean, relative to 3,000. And I don't know, can they quarantine the sick people, just the sick people, and let the healthy people off? Maybe the healthy people are exposed and they don't know that they're sick yet, so I guess there's that. But man, I bet there's sick people on every ship that just don't report. So I don't know. I feel bad for the other 3,000 people that didn't get off the ship and enjoy their cruise in Grand Turk. I've been to Grand Turk a couple of times. It's actually one of my favorite ports. They've got some excellent snorkeling within walking distance in Grand Turk, within walking distance of the port, in like seriously like a 10-minute walk. And it's right off the shore. You don't need to buy an excursion where you're going way out in the ocean or anything like that. And there's this coral reef, and you only have to swim out a little ways, and suddenly you're in this vast, beautiful coral reef. There are amazing tropical fish. Big fish, little fish, colorful fish, everything you want, and snorkeling. And then there's this huge drop off. So you get out there and you have to go a little ways out there. I'm not the greatest swimmer, but I was brave enough to get out find this drop off, and at that drop off you start to see these huge fish, but you also see just this huge drop off, this end, like you can't see the bottom. And it's just wild, and there's just it's an amazing experience. So I'm sorry to all those folks that didn't get to go to Grand Turk because of the other sick passengers. I gotta see. Okay, I guess I'm not gonna sneeze. I almost sneezed. Hopefully I'm not sick. All right, guys. I'm yawning. A little bit tired. It happens. So anyway, the island's Ministry of Health said it included cases of acute respiratory illness, influenza, and acute gastroenteritis. Let's see. The health ministry undertook a public health risk assessment and decided not to let the ship dock. The decision was made following a careful risk assessment and is in line with international health regulations. It's too bad. It happens, I guess. What do you guys feel? Should they loosen up on that a little bit? Do you understand? Do you think it's a good thing that they didn't let the ship dock? Let me know in the comments. All right, so I am going to move on to the next story. All right, the next story is a story about cruise tipping, a controversial subject for sure. Well, John Heald, brand ambassador John Heald from Carnival Cruise, for various reasons, came out and decided to spell out as clearly as we've ever seen, I believe, exactly where the tip money on Carnival goes. And I guess I will tell you why. Apparently he saw somebody that was claiming on a different cruise line, and he did not specify which cruise line, but apparently an ex-employee or a current employee, I don't remember, was saying that or complaining that the cruise company keeps the money from automatic gratuities. So when you have those automatic tips that you pay, this person was claiming that the staff wasn't getting those tips and that the cruise line was keeping it. And John wanted to assure people that that's not the case on Carnival. So here is the actual breakdown, if I can find it here, of tips. Here we go. The majority of your gratuity of the suggested daily amount, the majority of it, is shared equally between the lady or gentleman who cleans your cabin and the lady or gentleman who serves you in the dining room and main dining. So I just want to talk about that. What if you don't go to main dining? You should, because main dining is good. But what if you don't go to main dining? Do you really want your tip money going to waiters and waitresses that never helped you out? He also noted that the stateroom attendants and dining room servers may share those tips with their assistants. That's fine. Additionally, a smaller portion of passengers' prepaid gratuities go to crew who serve, clean, and work behind the scenes on the Lido deck. So some of that money just is pooled, I think, between everybody and given to the Lido deck workers. Kind of makes sense, but some people get sensitive about the tipping, and I kind of see why it would be nice if tipping should be like a service-related thing, right? Rather than expected. Like the cruise line should be expected to pay the employees a good wage. And then tips, at least traditionally, should be like if we're on a cruise and we get extra good service, we tip extra good cash to the person giving us the extra good service. It's kind of been blurred a little bit where we just give all this money of the decided amount from the cruise line, which you obviously can take off. It is optional. But I don't think probably most people do. I think most people probably just pay it. And it's significant money, For a 7-day cruise, it's going to be, $100 or something like that. So that money gets pooled up and it goes to people that maybe you didn't even interact with on the entire cruise. So I can see how that rubs some people the wrong way. It actually, when I really think about it, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I like tipping to be like a directly because somebody did something to make my trip extra special. I want to be able to give that particular person a tip. And you can. And it goes on to talk about that in just a second here. The brand ambassador also explained that if passengers choose your time dining, which means they aren't served by the same dining room service team each night, their cruise their cruise, they are the prepaid gratuities are shared between all of your dining servers. So specifically the servers that served you, the money that you particularly gave. That's the way I understand it. So your specific money, not pooled money, but your specific money is just split between all of the different servers that served you. If you give a waiter in your time dining cash, it is kept completely by that waiter. Otherwise, it is pooled, as they say, Heald noted. So let's read that again. If you give a waiter in your time dining cash, it is completely by that waiter. It is kept completely by that waiter. And then he says, otherwise it is pooled, as they say. Okay, so I didn't notice that before. He's saying two different things. He's saying that it is either kept by that person or it is pooled, which are the two options. And so I thought before when I read this, I thought he was for sure saying that the servers always get to keep the cash if you give it to them. It's like maybe that's not the case. It is the same with bartenders, he added. If you write a gratuity on the receipt, or if, for example, you've got the Cheers program, the gratuity is shared equally between all the bartenders, so it's another pooled situation. If you hand the bartender cash, it is kept completely 100% by he or she that has served you. Okay, so that is pretty clear. If you hand cash money to a person on the ship, they get to keep the cash money. They don't have to share it. They can if they want, but they don't have to share it. And so that's kind of cool. If you give a crew member a gratuity in cash, if you give them the same amount as the suggested amount in cash or any extra cash, then that is kept 100% by that crew member. Again, he or she may give a portion of that to their direct assistant or the assistants in the dining room. Heald assured passengers that Carnival Cruise Line does not require its crew members to turn in cash gratuities that they are given. 100% of those cash gratuities are kept by the crew. I've wondered that before when I give cash tips to room attendants or servers, if they were supposed to hand that in, and then it gets pooled. And it's actually good that he answered that question. I think John Heald's a pretty reliable source in this. So it sounds like if you hand cash to a worker on a Carnival Cruise Line ship, they do get to keep that cash. They don't need to pool it. And so you can tip specifically because that individual made your cruise special. I think that's really great. I'm glad that's clarified. And thank goodness Carnival's not, taking a percentage of that cash. For the longest time, I was so sure of myself on being like, you should never take off your gratuities. You should just go with the program. But the more I've thought about it, I've come around a little bit on, individualizing your tipping, because why are you tipping people that didn't affect your cruise? It seems like it would be maybe better if you just tipped people that made your cruise special. That's what tipping was made for in the beginning. And now with this automatic tipping and all that kind of stuff, it seems like a little bit, I can see why people think it's kind of the cruise line finding a way to not have to pay their employees as much and just kind of put it on the passengers. You're going to automatically pay all these tips because you should. That's just how it is. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying it's not good to be generous. I'm just saying it's like, why is there this expectation that you tip even if you're, you have a bad experience on your cruise and the crew kind of lets you down, you're just expected to tip. I don't know. I like tipping because of particular service. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I would love it if you guys would tell me what you think about this particular situation. And so that is it for this first. It's not really the first, but the first Cruise News Live with the new tools that I'm going to be using. And, the first one's never the best one, but you got to get that start, right? So, anyway, guys, I will be seeing you again somewhat soon. Hey, maybe this thing didn't even go out to anyone. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to find out about that right now. And, yeah, so I will see you again soon.